Well, I think the burning question is, and you put it right there in the headline, who do you trade? I don't think they can afford, from a credibility standpoint, John, to trade any of the marquee players. Because even though there's 70 games left in the season, that sends a terrible sign to the people that laid down enormous amounts of money for season tickets that you're giving up on the season. Therefore, I think they try to rent a player or two going through the trading deadline on August 1st that'll give them 2 months that maybe can give them some push. AJ Preller said it the best on the road trip in Toronto. He says, whatever we do, we're going to address the perimeter of the roster. Now, that might be designated hitter. Maybe that'll be a rental free agent bat. Maybe it'll be another rental pitcher. But by doing that, it means they don't probably have to give up the blue chippers in their farm system. Here's a piece of history. AJ Preller, in his first 6 years as general manager of this team, traded 31 prospects or name players in significant deals. I think as I charted it, I think he'd made 21 trades involving 31 guys. 31 included hot young prospects that they had drafted or guys they signed internationally, and then obviously moving out veterans. Now, the burning question, if you're going to do something of significance, there's nothing on this big roster that you can trade away without impacting you. You can't trade Soto because you're not going to get 5 for 1. So you're not going to get equal value. And you still have, I think, hope that you can sign Soto to an extension pretty quickly. You're surely not going to trade Snell. I mean, he is one of the front runners of your staff. And if you think you're going to be playing in October, you want him to have the ball. I mean, his last 10, 11 starts, for the most part, have been really rock solid. Now, do you trade guys that are having disappointing seasons to rent a player? Would you trade Trent Grisham, Gold Glove guy, but, struggles to hit over 200? He could probably bring you a rental pitcher. Do you dare give up on Cronenworth? Because to me, it's like the scouting report. The league has figured out Cronenworth, and that's a position where you want to have a power hitter. You don't want to have somebody hitting 211 playing first base. Do you give up on some of the young pitchers who have struggled, Ryan Weathers and Adrian Morejon? Do you move one of them to get something? So the Padres, they got some tough decisions to make, but I just get the sense they're going to stay in this race as long as they can. They're not going to divest themselves of name players. And as AJ Preller said, we're going to address the perimeter of the roster, which to me means some type of short 1 year, half year rental. You're the general manager. You've come in from left field. Give me an opinion with some validity. What do you think they should do?
Well, isn't it amazing how they lose 3 out of 4 in Philly? And immediately we're all like, burn it down, sell them off. And then they win the first 2 in Toronto. We're like, hey, we got a chance. We're just so emotional about this. If they're going to hit the eject button on any of their star guys, hey, you're right. That's a signal to the fan base that, they're not in it to win it. Most likely, you've seen when Preller made the trade, like, for example, who was that hitter they picked up that was a DH from the Red Sox a couple of years ago that can't remember his name, but they gave up like a couple of lesser prospects to get a rental for a couple of months. That's not a bad way to go if they want to just fill in some holes. They need to solve the problem at DH and potentially at first. I saw somebody on Twitter saying maybe Cronenworth needs to be like a Ben Zobrist, a super utility, and you just put a big bat in there at first base.
Yeah, I find it tough to be down on Cronenworth because I think he's a self-made guy. He's turned out to be a really good first baseman.
Oh, yeah.
Defensively. But he's just not hitting. He didn't hit at the end of last year, and he surely has not hit this year. But he's probably got some marketability, and you might be able to get a rental there. I think they're going to make 1 or 2 deals, but they're not going to make, I don't think, blockbuster deals. And I'm just not ready to blow the thing up yet, even though, with the loss now that they had on Thursday afternoon in Toronto, they're so far back and they got so many teams they're going to have to vault over to position themselves. Now, I was hopeful that, maybe they blow through the Sky Dome in Toronto, win 3 there, go to Detroit and bash a bad Tiger team, come home and do the same thing to the Pirates. Geez, if they could have anything close to a 9-game winning streak before Texas and the Orioles roll in here, before they have to go face the Dodgers for 4, maybe there's hope. But, John, there's so many games they have to make up. And these other guys in front of them are not going to be stationary. It's not like those guys are all going to give ground and come back to the Padres. It's going to be a challenge. Okay, from San Diego.